These last few weeks have been heavy weeks for humanity. George Floyd, an African-American man, died last week after a white police officer used unnecessary and unjust force while arresting him for using a fake $20 bill. George died unjustly, and although this is far from the first case of race-based police brutality, it was the straw that broke the camel's back, as people all over the world decided to say enough is enough. And so people all around the world have been protesting, civilians and police officers alike, saying that it is outrageous that this level of racial discrimination and mistreatment is still present in our world today, saying that it's outrageous that often for black people, law enforcement does not mean protecting or saving their lives. Instead, it threatens their lives, sometimes taking them. George's death represents something far bigger, something that's been in this present world for far too long. So, let's have a look at racism. We'll see how God feels about it and what we can do about it. So, the Bible teaches that every human is made in the image of God. Now, to get why that's important to know, imagine a sculptor who's sculpted a beautiful statue and they chisel their name into it and everything. Now, if someone comes along and says, "This statue is rubbish," they're not just insulting the statue, they're also insulting the sculptor. So, if you insult and devalue a piece of art, then you also insult and devalue the artist. Now, as I said, every single person is made in the image of God, the most incredibly beautiful and wondrous thing in the universe. So, for a person to take someone of a different race than them and insult them and devalue them and mistreat them and discriminate against them, it is one of the biggest injustices in the world. Because in being racist, they are literally devaluing the precious image of God. God hates racism. In Numbers 12, Moses' sister criticizes Moses for being married to a person of different race, and God calls her out on it, and he literally gave her a skin disease that made her skin turn white. Now, it ends with her realizing her wrong and God healing her, but it gives us a glimpse of how God feels about it. The fact that racism is denying people their God-given gift, which is the most precious thing in the universe, is why Christians have been a massive force against racism throughout history. I mean, you know Martin Luther King Jr., who gave the "I Have a Dream" speech? Well, a lot of people miss out that he was a Christian. He was the pastor of a church. He didn't see fighting racism as something separate from his faith. In fact, it was his belief that God made everyone equal that drove him. So combating racism and discrimination isn't something separate from the Christian faith. It's actually central to being a Christian. And this is why it's still our place as Christians to challenge racism today. Everyone is made in the image of God and should have incredible worth and value, but right now, while people of other races are being denied their God-given worth and beauty and value, Christians should not sit still. It's our place as Christians to stand up against racism. So what does this look like then, standing up against racism? Well, it looks like challenging racism when you see it or hear it, even if it's just our friends joking around. A little bit racist is still racist. So call people out on it who are around you, whether it's a school or teacher or, like I said, your friends. You can support and sign petitions or attend peaceful protests. Just know that it's not enough to just not be racist. We need to be actively anti-racist. So let's stand up. So, just to mention to finish, as George Floyd's brother said, it's important not to cause violence or hurt or damage to others or property in this call to fight racial justice, but it is important to take a stand. Racism is denying people their God-given value and worth. It's devaluing and insulting the image of God. Quite frankly, God hates racism, and we should too, and it's a Christian's job to fight against it. I'll see you next time.